introduce them in studio. To my immediate left, we have the captain, Boniface Mugunde, with us in studio. Boni, karibu sana.
Asante sana.
Vipi mambo?
Nashukuru.
Karibu sana.
Asante kabisa.
Next to Boni, we have Christine Ongare, evergreen, always strong and always very, very prayerful and keeps her faith in God. Christine, karibu sana.
Asante sana.
Imekuwaje since the last time we spoke or met here in studio?
Nimekukawia hata nilikuwa nauliza sugar, but I'm good.
Karibu sana. Karibu sana. Nice to have you. Then last but not least, Duncan Kuria, Sugar Ray. They call him Sugar. I'll find out why. But Duncan Kuria. Duncan, nice to have you in studio as well. Karibu sana.
Yeah, it's nice to be back.
Karibuni sana.
It's been a while. Thank you for welcoming us here.
Before we even talk about, what's happening in the local scene, let's talk about the IBA Congress that's currently going on in Dubai. A lot to talk about from a boxing point. We have, David Munuhe, SG, out there in Dubai representing Kenya. A brief about the Congress in Dubai?
It's been a difficult year for the IBA because there has been a bit of challenges with the IOC, a lot of politics. There is a new body that is coming up called World Boxing that is trying to operate like a parallel international body, and some federations are actually migrating to the other one because the other one seems to be aligning more closely with the IOC and the matters to do with the Olympics. But so far from Africa, it's only Nigeria that seems to have moved to the World Boxing. There's a very difficult situation whereby a national federation is not allowed to be in two international federations. So we have a situation that is very tricky because a country like Nigeria seems to have moved to World Boxing, but still part of Nigerian Boxing Federation officials are claiming that they're still in IBA. So it's a very important congress that is going on in Dubai. And happily, we are represented there by our Secretary General, Mr. David Munuhe. And we are hoping that they are going to come up with good policies that are going to help grow the sport of boxing in the continent. Recently, just about 2 weeks ago, we are able to, we did a congress for the AFBC, which is Africa Boxing Confederation, and we elected the president of Ethiopia Boxing Federation to be the president of Africa. So in East Africa, we have the president of the continent. So I think so far, so good. They are working very well. We are hoping that when they come back, they are going to come back with goodies of how they are going to grow the sport of boxing across the continent. But normally we have, we have more interest, Kenya, growing the sport in Kenya, and we are hoping our Secretary General will be bringing us some goodies also just for our country, Kenya.
Well, we are hoping for the same because boxing is one sport that in the yesteryears Kenya was so respected of, not just boxing. We are talking of sports like hockey, cricket, but I mean, it's a high time we start getting back to the yesteryears. Christine,
yeah.
The last time we were here, or the last time you came to studio, you were preparing for the Tokyo Olympic Games.
Yes.
You promised Kenyans that by faith, you are going for the Olympic qualifiers, na utaangalia nyuma, Olympics unaenda. Yeah. Is that the same case again? Because we have, Paris next year, games coming up, now we still have the repecharge. Twaenda 20.
Okay, for me, bado niko tuna ile imani, kwa sababu I'm doing my part. And always, the rest I leave to God. Kwa sababu the Olympic that I went, nilikuwa na ile envy, but a positive envinity. That unasikia mtu anakuambia, I'm 2 times, I'm 3 times Olympian. So hiyo ilinipatia motivation, nikajiambia, I still have a long way to go. Then pia, if you consider the 2020 Olympics, I didn't feel it the way I hear people saying it due to COVID. So now I want to go and feel the way people say it. You know, tunaweza sema na nina imani, because where there seems to be no way, hapo ndio njia huwa inapatikana, kwa sababu Africa now this time walikuwa wametukazia mbaya. So me, I still have faith. Ninaenda na naenda kuitwa 2 times Olympian.
2 times Olympian.
Yeah.
By faith, you will go.
Amen.
Yeah, Posawa. Boni?
Yeah.
I mean, so much has happened this year. the federation has really tried. You guys were in Cuba, where you went for 12 days Olympic pre-qualifiers, had a lot of exposure. What can you say about that? Because day by day, you seem to be getting the experience and exposure that you need.
First of all, I want to thank the government for the opportunity that they gave us to go to Cuba for training. It was a very good experience. We had a lot of we were educated there more. Because Cuba, they focus more on tactics. They focus more on tactics. We sat down with the Cuba coach. We just asked him a few tips, how they make it, how they do it. He told us that they focus more they focus more on tactics, not on power. On tactics. And then he told us that Russia, they focused on power more, but them they on tactics, and they don't do too much. Like us, when we went there, I like running too much, so my power inamaliza power yangu sana. So but he told us that we should just jog and do more tactics, more school boxing. Those things, they will help us. And yes, indeed, we have done it in our gym in Depot. We have done that, and I've seen a very big improvement in like me and myself. I've seen a very big improvement in myself. So we just want to focus on what we were told, what we learned in Cuba, and I believe that everything is going to be well come next year, which we are focusing on the trials of Olympics. In Africa, we were given it was not easy.
Very slim.
Only gold. It was not easy. Not only even in our side, but even in other countries. When we were just mingling with them, they told us that it is not fair. Only gold, and we were many people in my weight. Like I was round of 64, and then you imagine to beat all those people, and then you come to gold. It is not easy, but I believe that there is nothing that is impossible. Everything is possible with God, just as my sisters said here. And I believe, because there's a time we start with the Omanyala. Omanyala, he was telling us his journey in his life, how he make it. He was given the trials that he had in Kasarani, which he qualified for Tokyo. It was his last trials, and he told us that it wasn't easy for him to reach where he was. So he struggled, and that was his last trials. He was told if he couldn't make it, that is over with him. But that last trial is the one that made him to be where he is right now. So I believe even us, we didn't make it in Africa, but I believe that is not the end. I know come next year, next trials, I believe that we'll make it, because there is nothing that is impossible.
Nothing is impossible, and by faith we shall get there. Sugar Ray, from the two boxers, you can clearly tell that Africa's journey to the Olympics is not easy at all. Not easy at all. And looking at the Olympic qualifiers that were in Dakar, Senegal, you sent boxers, but unfortunately the route was just too stiff.
Yes, they are correct. The quotas that were given to Africa were very tough. I will say they were very mean, because for men, we are 54 countries that are competing for 7 places only. So you can imagine all the boxers from the entire continent competing for 7 tickets.
How is it
crazy.
In the other continents?
In the other continents, now, actually I was, when we were in Dakar, I had a chance. The guy who is in charge of the boxing unit in Paris boxing unit is my friend. He's called Breno. He's from Brazil, and he was also the one who was in charge of the boxing last time with the IOC boxing task force. So I was trying to complain that in Africa it's very difficult when you're only taking the gold medalists for Paris 2024. Then he's telling me that the number of boxers were reduced. For the first time, we are going to have 50-50 gender parity. So the number of men and the number of women are going to be equal at 124 each. The number of boxers have been reduced by 34. But unfortunately, all 34 are being reduced on the side of men. Then, Now you're telling me like for Americas, now they are getting 2 per weight. So where we are getting 1 in Africa, in Americas they are getting 1. But now he was trying to say that for Americas it's a bit more competitive because of the countries. You know, you have USA, Cuba, Brazil, Argentina, those countries across the Americas. But again, when you look at it, it's still not fair, because me, I was thinking, if the IOC really wants to push the agenda for gender parity, I believe the best route to take will have been to increase the number of women so that it equals the number of men, but not reducing the number of men so that we have fewer men than what was there before. So all across, I think it was very tough, because for women, again, for women it was a bit better because it was only 2, gold and silver. This time we are going to have 6 weight categories for women. Last time it was 3. So this time we have the first 5, it's gold and silver, which is from light fly, fly, bantam, feather, and welter. And then now for middleweight, where we got a silver medal, they're only taking 1. So that's how Elizabeth Andiego missed a chance, because she fought up to the final. Unfortunately, in the final, she was fighting against the heavyweight champion of the world, Mahdi Khadija from Morocco. And unfortunately, she lost on point. But she gave a very good fight, a very good account of herself. So it's unfortunate that she lost. But now it means that, again, she goes back to the drawing board with the rest of us, because we still have a chance to qualify. Maybe what is better, maybe when you compare maybe like with Europe, Europe is a bit better, because for Europe, where in Africa you're qualifying 1, in Europe they're qualifying 4, 6. So you find in some weight categories like the top 6 boxers in Europe are already out, because they have already qualified through the European qualifiers. What might complicate things a bit is that Russia has always had a problem, because the president of International Boxing Federation is from Russia. And unfortunately, they did not participate in the European qualifiers. So it means they also, if they want to participate in the Olympics, they have to go to the repechage that we have, one which will be in Italy, and the second one which will be in Bangkok, Thailand. So maybe that might be, Russia is a strong team. If it comes to the qualifiers, might complicate things a bit, but there it's a bit better, because it's 4 tickets per weight category, which is good. It's better than what we had here, 1. So if we have similar situation in Africa, like what we had when we were doing the Tokyo 2020 qualifiers, at least for Christine, they had 3 tickets in her weight categories. She got the 3rd one. So it's a bit better when it's that way. Maybe with the repechage, it will be all the medalists are going to be qualifying. So that is a bit better, because even if Russia is there, and of course anything can happen on a day. Like for Boniface Mogunde, when we went to the Africa Olympic qualifiers, he fought against 2016 bronze medalist and 2015 world champion Mohamed Rabi from Morocco, and he knocked him out. So it was, I think even himself, he got surprised in that fight, because he shocked the world, because Rabi is a big name. Rabi is the current Africa middleweight champion, and Mogunde got a bronze medal in the Africa Championship. So when they were meeting in the Olympic qualifiers, most people didn't give Mogunde a chance. But Mogunde knocked, I think at that time, if you were there, okay, I was there, and the vibe in the hall was that Cuba is working, because we had trained in Cuba. And now, actually it was our first fight. Yeah. He was the first Kenyan to get to the ring, and he was fighting against former world champion and Olympic bronze medalist Mohamed Rabi, and who is also the current middleweight Africa champion. TKO. A ticket he had only won 2 weeks ago. And now when they're meeting in the Olympic qualifier, knockout, and everybody gets shocked. Then the other coaches from across Africa coming to me, Cuba is working. It was a fantastic feeling.
Christine, Cuba is working. Your experience in Cuba going into the Africa Olympic qualifiers in Senegal, a lot was expected. In fact, we had hopes. But getting to the knockout phases, then things started getting a bit, hazy for Kenya. Talk about, the Africa Olympic qualifiers in Senegal, more so after coming from, Cuba.
Okay, after coming from Cuba, mimi naweza sema kwangu ilikuwa ni exposure poa, but for ladies there is when they are upcoming. So to me nilikuwa naona kama wao ndo wana gain kwangu, cause wajakuwa na tournament za mademu, but there was a time that you are having that school boxing with men. At least they know to control than our men. They are good. They are ready to teach you, but not to demoralize you. So nililana a lot. Alafu pia there's something that I learned depending on their gym, cause nikuja kulearn they use the facility that they have. Kwa sababu hiyo gym yao si ati ni poa sana, but ukiambiwa hiyo ndio inatoa machamp unastuka. So even in Kenya we can use whatever we have. Tukiamua ni kuinvest kwa hiyo kitu na tunaweza enda mbali, kwa sababu tukikuja comparing to Cuba, sisi yani tuna fight kigetu, ni ile hatuko na, alafu una push, but ikiongezewa kidogo, kwanza sana sana kwa upcoming ama youth school, watakuwa poa sana na tutarudi kwa ile glory yenye si usikia gati Kenya had glory. Yes,
inawezekana. Thank you so much. I mean, Boni,
Yeah.
the way Sugar has put it, Sugar Ray is like umeingia kwa ring with, before even everybody realizes kushoto kulia TKO, then everyone is like, hang on, what's happening? Were you mentally prepared? Did you expect to beat Rabi by a knockout?
No. Rabi is a champion, and before even I entered in the ring, I knew him. I knew he's a champion. Yes, I was scared. I was ilikuwa ile tension. Ile tension ule champ. But sasa nikasema pana. Pia mimi nimepiga mazoezi. Even me have trained. So wacha ring ende ya mwesa itakuaje. So I entered in the ring, I played my game. First of all, I was just kuna tactics nilikuwa natumia, kuna jab nilikuwa natumia sana, na chapa chini kwa tumbo, na chapa jab, na mchezea mbali, na chapa jab kwa tumbo. So that was the first round. The second round, when I entered the second round, when the first round ended, I went to my corner. My coaches told me that you are napiga jab chini sana, so jaribu jab chini alafu maliza na right juu. So nikasema let me go, let me do that. Wao ndo naona, makochi ndo naona kila kitu yenye nafanya. So I went and tried to do that. So nilikuwa namchanganya chini peke yake. So yeye akajua ni chini tu natumia. So ile ya mwisho nikachapa chini ikaenda juu. Nikaona ametingika. Mimi mwenyewe sikuamini, siwezi kudanganya. Nilikuwa naambia yeye Sugar hapa. Naambia Senya alikuwa anipiga interview. Sikuamini. Mimi niliona tu ametingika, ndo nakimbia kwenda kuongezea ingine tena ndio aende kabisa. So ndo nikaona imesimamishwa. Nikashukuru Mwenyezi Mungu, sikuamini, lakini naamini kuwa hakuna kitu iwezekani vile tumesema saa hii. Hakuna kitu iwezekani. It's not about the champion, it's not about vile yako, but it's all about your heart. Kama uko na your heart, kama uko na your believe, everything is possible.
I mean, looking at some of the some of the footage, and clearly you can tell, Christine, some of the moments that Kenya will always remember. What can you talk about this?
Pardon? Sugar amenipoteza huko.
Sugar amekupoteza, because these are some of the moments that we can always look at and say, Christine, then of course we have Diego. You've put Kenya women, boxing at the top, and Kenya is completely respected. Any Kenyan squad that comes out, the first name that you'll always look out for is always Christine, always Diego. And these are some of the photos we're looking at. What goes through your mind when you step into the ring and the entire country is looking at you?
Okay, for me what I can say, nasemanga venye una grow, kuna goal yako unakuwa umejiekea. So in my life kuna goal yenye nakuwa nimejiekea. So nikiingia kwa ring, mine is to motivate kwenye nakuwa nimetoka, kwenye nililelewa, that it doesn't matter where I came from, but kwenye nimefika ndo ina matter. So hiyo inakuwa motivation kwa wanyo yako kwa mtaa, ati haijalishi penye huko. Ukibelieve, mwa nasema you believe it, dream it and make it happen. So that's the word that I go with it.
Wow, very encouraging, very encouraging. Sugar Ray, looking at, you know, some of these clips, you can clearly tell that there are moments when things are not going your way. And when you see your coaches going out to complain, and you know, in a motivate boxer, because anaona hata coach anaona hapa ninalaliwa lakini a coach goes out. Do you raise complaints anytime you go out there, you know, and you feel that the officiating is not up to scratch? Do you raise them?
Yeah, it's a serious concern that is there, and it's something that I also think the International Federation needs to take notice and also provide us a solution, because we seem to be having a challenge whereby sometimes we go to some of these championships and we encounter poor officiating. And then now the problem that we have in boxing is that we do not have an appeal mechanism. So you find like what you are seeing there, it was a case where this referee was very unfair. There she had just stopped Christine's bout for no apparent reason, because Christine was not caught by any hard punch. So, and the referee just decided to give a count, and after counting, he finished the fight. And now our coach went to protest, maybe back there at the background. It was not possible visible there, but at the back the coach was complaining, and he was removed from the playing field. And later on,
there you go.
Later on, yeah, his accreditation was withdrawn. That's the guy who came to pick him up, and then they went and withdrew his accreditation. So it's part of the problem that we have in boxing, because sometimes boxing is very subjective, because we can watch with you a fight and we disagree who has won. It's not like football where, you know, you see how goals are scored and you agree. Like yesterday, I found you talking about the under 18
yes,
where we lost to Uganda, unfortunately. It's very easy. You saw the goals being scored, so you can't complain that we might have won, but the person who scores most goals wins. So in boxing, it's a bit different, because now for like what happened in this fight, the referee saw, I don't know what he saw, because us, we didn't see that punch. And I was there, and there's video to that to support that. Then we have a situation whereby the referee stopped the fight. We don't know why the fight has been stopped, and we don't have any appeal mechanism. It's like it's finished. We had another case that happened to us when we were in Cameroon, where a Kenyan fought against a Nigerian. The fight, the Nigerian got an injury, and the fight was stopped. And the Kenyan was declared the winner. And then the following day, the Kenyan is not in the draw. The person who lost is now the one going through, and we don't understand how. Then they tell us to produce evidence that he was declared the winner. Of course, because I'm there, I'm the one who has this information. So it's like I have information more than the organizers. So I go and bring the video, the photos that I took when the announcement was being done. Then they find it's true that they announced that the Kenyan is the winner. But now, because of vested interest, now the team that we were supposed to play with was Congo Brazzaville. They refuse. They say they want to fight the Nigerian. The Nigerian is injured, cannot get into the ring. Now, because they want to go ahead and win a medal, they don't agree to fight Kenya, because there was a confusion which occurred because of a problem with the leadership. So you see, those are kind of challenges that sometimes we encounter when we're out there representing the country. And unfortunately, we don't get enough time to explain the kind of scenarios that we encounter when we're out there, because some of the things that happen to us are so unfortunate. We get a lot of biasness, especially with the host countries. Sometimes when it comes to Africa, it's Francophone against Anglophones. So there are some difficulties that we do encounter, and they are not easy.
Painful. Let me get it from Christine. Christine, what goes through your mind at such a point when you really feel at hapa enyewe nimeonewa? What goes through your mind as a boxer, and that moment particularly that we're now watching on screen?
Inakuwaga pain because there is no punch yenye mekupata. Alafu pia the last punch mimi ndio nilikuwa nimempiga, whereby tukisha break unaona unahesabiwa. So before I had to be angry, but coach Devi alinisimamishanga kaniambia hapana, ring imebeba mambo mengi, cause kuna wenye wana kusqueeze, so naenda ndio nikizoe, cause mimi sijuagi rough game. Mimi natakaga to box. So at least imeendelea ikini motivate. Nili accept, but unaona sasa wananijua au waliniondokea. Unaona ikimalizwa hao waliniondokea cause me tears zangu zinakuwaga karibu. But sasa wanasemanga jaji akishaamua inakuwaga ni hivyo kwa sababu ilirudi kanirudisha back kwa ilikuwa nini hii Commonwealth yenye pia tulienda. The first round nikaona nimescore so nikaenda kwa kona. Kurudi kocha ananiambia 5-0, unajua pia imekumaliza.
Timing.
Unacheza tu bora. Unacheza tu bora iishe juu sasa.
What goes through your mind? Because I'm just imagining as a boxer, you know, things are tough. Like Christine says, clearly you can tell that hapa nimelalio. There's nothing you can do.
It's so painful. Kwanza senye umecheza vizuri first round, alafu unapata the first round ambayo imeenda yote. Si rahisi, unakuja unashangaa, kwani what am I not doing? Nini nyesifanyi? So unaona ni kama wanaona skin ama ni nini. So hiyo nini inakuanga very painful, but sasa unapata yes you are down, tena second round number you are down. Sasa that round number sasa unaamua sasa hii ni ku KO. Na KO is not easy, unaweza pata hata unaweza pata hiyo KO tena. So it's not easy. So inakuanga very painful. Inakuanga very painful, but yote ni yote wanakuanga kwenye wamefanya. Tena tunarudi tunakuwa watu humble, tunarudi tena kwa drawing board, tunafanya mambo yetu, tena tunarudi tena baadaye inshallah God willing.
Excellent. I mean Sugare, unaweza pigo hiyo KO wewe mwenyewe. But let's not focus into that. Let's look at the future because you have the veterans here. They are eyeing the Olympic titles. Christine is hoping for, you know, to be called a second time or a two-time Olympian, which by God's grace she will. Bonnie also here, you know, eyeing the same. But you have a program that's currently running. That's the youth, junior, school boys and girls, you know, boxing championships going on for the last 3 days with the finals going on today at Green Park. What, I mean, motivated this idea? Because definitely if you have to make it at the top, you have to get the youth right for us to get back.
Correct. Yeah, we've had a challenge with the issue of COVID came up with its own complications, because it also affected the school calendar. So we've had a challenge in terms of organizing the championship for the school boys and school girls, junior and youth, because the calendar was not conducive. You find when they are taking a break, maybe it's just a break of 1 week and they go back to school. So we were trying to see how we can try to keep the youngster busy. Then we have national team for the youth that we are trying to get to form. So the youth who are taking place here, we are going to select a team that can represent Kenya when we have championship for the youth. And also our main aim is also to keep the youngsters busy so that they don't engage in other things that are not conducive maybe for their social life. So as a federation, we want to ensure that we give them an opportunity to explore their talent, and in future they are going to become champions like the ones that we have here.
Definitely, very good idea indeed. Christine, as we wind up, you promised Kenyans last time we were here about the Olympics, and you said, by God's grace, you will do your bit, but you will ask God to take care of the rest. We are looking at the repechage, you know, coming up in February in Italy. Then you have Bangkok later on in the year. But you also have your Premier League, you know, your league that is going on at the moment. Kenya Police, your club, you are at the top, which means you are in form. You are, you know, you are playing regularly as you get ready for February. What can you promise Kenyans as you continue with your hunt to be called the two-time Olympian?
Okay, I'm still training. Alafu pia mi upenda kuambia, becoming a champion is easy, but maintaining the championship hapo ndio shida inatokea. Cause for me, it's stressful. Inabidi uende extra mile, kwa sababu kuna ule mtu mwenye halali juu yako. So, mi work daily hard. Hata kama sijaenda gym, but ni lazima ni work, na pia I'm always ready to learn new things. Kwa sababu it doesn't matter for how long that I've been in that sport, new things, technology inaenda kibadilisha daily. So I'm always ready to learn from anybody, whereby I pick whatever I see that fits me, whatever I see that I cannot, kwa sababu kuna kama some punches saizi, hata ukiniambia siwezi. So napiki ile juu, wanasemaga muscle memory. for now haiwezi. So najaribu, wengi tunajaribu kuperfectiwa kwa ile yenye ni easy kwangu. Kama nikiremember qualifier niliscore sana na hii right yangu. So that is my perfect. Nilikuwa nikitoka hiyo right, hata ukiangalia clip yangu hiyo ndio so alafu pia nimekuja kulan, ukicompare hii game ya Senegal hii yenye tumecheza juzi, mimi nakuaga fighter nikipata boxer. But sasa this time nimepata fighter whereby it was a very big challenge. It was a very big challenge. Kwa sababu sasa ni to fight. Whereby I think nilileta mchanganyiko, but I'm trying and working hard, and I believe, and I still believe and promise them that the same way I came last time saying that I'm going to qualify, it doesn't matter that this time I didn't qualify in Africa. Whatever is seen to be difficult to man, to God it is possible. I will make it, and the same me, I will come here again saying that.
Amen.
Yeah, amen.
Amen. And so shall it be. Boni, you have 1 minute. What's your parting shot? What can you promise Kenyans? Because this elusive qualification ticket is still not coming Kenya's way.
Mine I can say is, with God everything is possible, and like in the leagues I've seen myself as in the first league till this fourth one that we have played, I've seen a very big improvement in me, and that is what I'm still doing. The training that we had in Cuba, everything that we were taught, that is what I'm doing, and I believe that everything is going to be well. Because yes, I've won all the fourth leg, I've won all the leagues, but as like Mayweather say, Mayweather, if you do know Mayweather.
Yes, I know, yeah. Floyd Mayweather.
Floyd Mayweather always say that the more you win, the more you should train hard. The more you win, the more you should train hard. So it's not about winning. I can play with an opponent from maybe, let's say, any club. I win. It's not the same way that I will play with him the next time. So I must put more work, and I must show everything, and I believe that everything is possible.
Everything is possible. Yeah. Sugar Ray, you have less than a minute to wrap this up, up for us.
Mine, thank you for the opportunity to be here. I would like to thank our President, Mr. Jamal, for organizing the junior championship that is going on at Green Park. For those who are able to come and watch boxing for the youngsters, you can come to the Green Park this afternoon. The finals are going down, and we are hoping the youngsters that are going there are going to showcase good boxing, and in future they are the ones who are going to be representing us when the likes of Christine, the likes of Mugunde become of age. Thank you.
Well, as we look at that, wishing you all the best, Sugar Ray will be following keenly what's happening at Green Park to see how the juniors are letting us know whether there is light at the end of the tunnel or whether Boxing Federation is taking the tunnel to where the light is. Yeah. We will find out. Christine, yes. We wish you all the best, and by God's faith, they say that if my people are called by my names, shall humble themselves in prayer,
Amen.
I shall hear their prayer.
That is
so go for it. Boni, yeah. Same to you as well. Wishing you all the best.
Thank you.
Well, that has been a discussion with Christine Ongare here in studio, Boniface Mugunde, captain, and of course Sugar Ray with us here in studio, just letting us know what to expect. We are going into a short commercial break. Immediately after that, we'll have the ace, and this time around we are featuring one legend in boxing, Nick Okoth. Don't go away. The break is up next, followed by the